Okay, we can call the meeting to order. Do you want to run the meeting?
April?
Oh, yep, I can hear you.
You okay? You can hear me now? Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the reading and the approval of the minutes for our July 18th, 2024 meeting. I need a motion to accept them.
So moved, Eric. Fred.
Thank you. I need a second.
I'll second Maggie.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go on to the finance report.
I will make a motion to accept the cash flow as presented.
Okay, need a second.
I'll second that, Keith.
All those in favor?
Aye. And this, Maggie, I will make a motion to accept the check detail as presented.
Okay, need a second on that.
Put on the second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Also attached in the packet and sent out previously is the ABO required budget. It's just a projected cash flow for 25 to 29 for IDA operating. As always, we will present a official parks pilot and operating budget at the end of this year for 2025. So I just need a motion to accept the ABO projected budget.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second on that.
Fred will second.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So going into project updates, Renee has been meeting with our towns that are going to be getting the Chippy host fees. Did you want to give an update?
Yeah, let me just go over it real quick. So what we've done is, we set aside the economic development fee in Chippy. Part of our finding statement was that the IDA would develop a set of guidelines. So I drafted a set. We've done 2 sets of meetings now, one every single town and village board meeting officially on a public open record, because we don't want to make, sometimes messages don't come back straight. And then I've done a follow-up now with each of the communities with like either the supervisor and the mayor or in one extra trustee. I've asked them to have 2 people there. Okay. So far we've gone through the whole thing, and no problems at all. It's just I will get the draft to the board. My intention is to have in the next week. I'm just waiting for comments back. If any have them, none of them really seem to have it. Everybody's been pretty good about it. Everybody's been really good about it so far, but understanding the fact that it has to go into economic development-based mitigation type projects. Right now, currently the guidelines do not have any enforcement in it. When it comes to the board, we should have that conversation, whether there should be. I've approached it with all the municipalities that it really doesn't seem to want to be in an enforcement role, that we did something, we're all adults here, and that we can make this work and get solid projects without having to worry about fighting with them. Okay. And I guess I'll say part of it's been helpful because of my long-term relationship with these guys. There's been a bunch of stuff I've been able to just say, no, that's just not going to happen. We're not going to, like, for example, Kisaki asked, could we spend money on a bridge in Earlton? I said, no. But if you were building a bridge over a creek to get into a new industrial park we were building, then that would be like an eligible spend. It doesn't further economic development part. So anyway, so far it's all going very well. Everybody's looking for guidance. So I'll get those to you guys for next month, and we can improve. And then I'll continue to just sort of help guide some of these. Probably one of the first projects that's going to come out of this, or that money will be a factor, is it's really not on the street yet, but there's a particular large national chain truck stops that's looking in the area, which would require an extension into New Baltimore, which is high on their priority list anyway. Would be a no-brainer. It'd be like poster child of what the fund was intended for. So anyway, that's all there, and we'll at least get that checked off the list, and then by next spring can start to maybe circle back to them and see everybody's going down the right page, picking right kind of products.
When on Chippy itself, do we have any where they are?
2026, it should be going.
They're looking to go live and so a Chippy payment would not be until 2026 or 2027.
So what I did write into the guidelines that if these towns chose to get a jump start on a project in 2025 and wanted to budget out of their own money for, say, preliminary engineering studies, they could then reimburse themselves out of the fund later, because it would be part of the other. So trying to encourage some of them to think, maybe you want to get some preliminary engineering going, some thoughts going in 25 and not wait until 26. But, and then don't forget, they're going to get the money a little at a time. So,
Annually.
yeah, annually. So up front, they're gonna, first year or so might just be an engineer, might just be an engineering design stuff, and then further years out are bonded for the actual project. So
Maybe they can do a revenue anticipation.
they can do
or
it,
something
this
like
is
that.
solid enough that, they could do a revenue anticipation.
What kind of dollars are we talking for the townships?
The total to all the townships over the 30 years, just under 100 million. Catskill's like 13 something, New Baltimore's 9 something, Coxsackie's 6 something. Now, don't forget, when you go out to bond on these big capital projects, debt service lead up 30 or 40% of that, So, but it still allows them ability to do some improvements here.
I can send you the spreadsheet so you can see all the breakouts between the pilot monies and the host fee.
But really, their flexibility, the community's flexibility is in the host fee.
In
Right.
that
Right.
host fee
Yeah.
with Flint Mine, on the Flint Mine project.
Yep.
Those two communities, but the rest of them, there's, the restrictions, no pay, no paying, no offsetting the tax levy, no paying for buildings, no retiring old debt. I mean, everything's listed because it's really meant, and they all get it. It's meant to show that we did something to move economic development forward. And they have a wide range in there. They could do a facade program if they wanted to. They could do if they want to do the LEC, a little revolving loan program in small businesses. I don't know that people take a lot of that up, but most of it's planning and traditional infrastructure. So.
And where does our infrastructure stop now? Does it stop at the Serta property?
Clark.
It goes further than that, but the
The sewer. right now.
sewer, I thought, went past the Johns, isn't that what Jeff Russo was talking about?
He's saying that they got water up there, but I don't know that they got water. I don't think, I'm certain they don't have sewer.
The IDA paid for it to go to Hoteling Road.
And there's some discrepancy. Some claim that the water line goes up to the antique center. I remember them
Well,
asking,
Renee, there's water all the way up to Sheller Park Road.
yeah, but that's different. That's a different water line.
Oh,
That's a different water line. So the infrastructure where we have to take up on that intersection at Falk. But that's for the
So that area there to the throughways that,
yeah.
or just short of.
It'd be nice looking at it preliminary. It'd be nice to try to get like another half mile above up to that Sterrett property. Because that's the last property right before you come up on Taylor Monument. That place, it looks like crap on the right. That's a rather larger piece.
I remember that parcel.
So, yeah. Yeah, that old woman died and left him that nice house, and then he just let that thing burn out. It's terrible. But anyway, we'd love to get it that far. I don't think it's gonna have that far. I think the key would be to get it up to the travel plaza, because the travel plaza is such a nightmare. They're dead in the water because there's sewer issues up there. It's a nightmare all the way around, but that would be the goal, try to get it to the travel.
You're talking about the fuel hub travel plaza, not the throughway travel plaza.
No,
Good morning.
Yeah.
Dan just joined us.
that would be the goal, try to get it there.
Makes sense.
Somebody else is looking at, and I don't want to get it too far out, but I guess it's really getting on the street now anyway, but they're looking at maybe going over Camping World is. Not the whole facility, but part of that facility. It would be good. It'd be good if this happens, and it's looking like it's gonna very much happen.
I've been getting some questions. That's why I wanted to explore that a little bit.
Any other questions on Chip? Okay. So moving on to New Athens Generating Company Corporation. The new owners are in place. They've closed. Renee's also working on a strategic plan outline, which has been drafted. I've been setting up meetings with Athens Gen, and we have one coming up for the town, county, and IDA to meet with them. Do you want to give an update on strategic planning?
Yeah. So that was part of our mitigation that was in there, was to get the strategic plan going. we put the RFQ out for data center consultants, and as you know, we had no responses on it. So we did a little more digging, did some research, found another company out of New York City, and we're waiting on a proposal back from them. April and I zoomed them last week, seemed to be very well qualified, are located here in New York, making it relatively easy for travel. And one thing I liked about it is that one of the principals that's working on it has also got experience on siting vertical farming. They've done 3 vertical farming locations and
Vertical technology farming,
agriculture.
agriculture farming, okay.
Big thing now. It's really, and here, what thing would be to take a look at, can the waste heat be used? You know, so co-locating with power plants and taking waste heat off the power plant, or even a direct electric. A couple things we're looking at is how can we maybe find some things that could be behind the meter users, and you know, a towering, because one of the biggest costs is energy. They want to be close to market with all these greens, because you know, lettuce and salad greens don't make it across the country too well. So it's a realistic possibility how we could have some synergies here, either both with the water line. So data centers, vertical farm, and this company that we're talking to has an experience in both. So we're waiting on a proposal back from them. We'll bring it back to the board, and then we have a meeting on September 10th to set up with the town. So the main people on the steering committee be the IDA, some county reps from planning and economic development, town board reps, and town planning, and then Athens Jen. We are key core committee. My vision is real big. We're going to look at that entire industrial area in a snapshot, what's available, what's not available, what are the things that are worthwhile to pursue. And in fact, I'm even looking at National Grid owns a piece on that side of the railroad tracks. I think they probably got a 25-acre piece that's right in the middle of all the Athens Gen stuff. I think they probably bought that when they did Iron City. It was probably a piece of that farm or whatever they bought that. So I don't know, Paul, you got any contacts with real estate people like Grid?
Good. I have one contact or two.
Right.
They're not the easiest to deal with, but they're generally
Yeah.
rational when you get down.
Yeah, so that's just it. So at some point, the plan would be to, you know, to approach them and see whether they would get rid of that piece of property. Personally, I'd like to see whether they would donate, take the tax break from it. And then even like take, for example, Iroquois. So Iroquois bought that big parcel. If you drive by there every day, that pump station, you know, that compressor station and back, it's probably the single most least limited, no wetlands piece of property in the entire Athens industrial zone. So I know I still have a contact there. So again, no harm, no foul. You know, if you don't ask,
Right.
you don't know. And could we get them to, you know, free up the front half of the property, you know, for a potential small industrial user? So I got big visions how we tie this together, but that would be the goal really, is how to, what I told everybody here is how to make Athens generating incentive free in 20 years. That's the goal. That was what we kind of set out to do. And I do see some exciting possibilities there with some creative thinking. New owners, you know, the banks wouldn't have got into this. New owners, and as Paul has reported, and I did a little research on, these guys are serious. They're not, you know, a bunch of idiots. They're real serious investors.
They're operators.
In fact, I will tell you that one of the guys is a significant stock holding in a particular company that I might have just talked about at camping. Does that say what that is?
Yeah. They're real players.
So anyway, that's.
At least they're operators. We're not talking about bank holding them.
No, but we got a real, for the first time, someone who understands that maybe we're not gonna be totally renewable, and that we're gonna need to have some baseline here if we're gonna operate our businesses. I think that's the reality that we're gonna find at some point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think battery storage down there is an absolute no-brainer. And my projection is less than 2 years, the state's going to take the siting out of control of the locals. It's going to be a state-approved siting process. It is in Massachusetts already. And I queued Athens up. I just met with them Monday night, and they said, look, you know, you got the moratorium and stuff, but this is, and they're realistic. They realize it's probably going to cram down their throat. I said, well, let's do this. Let's have a positive point. Let's find the best spot to put it when they're going to come, because you know they're going to come with the power plant in Electric City there. So anyway, that's it on that. Oh, I'll just say timing wise, we'll meet with these guys, and then it'll probably go through the fall and through the winter. Just going to be research, pulling together research, starting to get mapping together, all that, and then start to, back next spring, early spring, we can come back to the committee and start to really engage, think about public sessions.
I think these battery centers are gonna become a very hot topic. Catskill's already starting to boil.
Oh, yeah, it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm starting to hear it from the decision makers that it's starting to boil. So it's, proximity to certain locations, I think is gonna become an issue. I mean, I got the notifications because I own property next to it, and I didn't go to the meeting, but I can tell you others are.
Yeah, oh no, it's been, I was there one night at the planning board when they kept the public hearing open for like months. And actually it was a terrible meeting because, people, anyway, it wasn't controlled at all, and you should have been controlled, but
I think the bigger, a big move is to something that you said earlier, which is this small scale kind of taking what you can and those users being right there. I mean, I was at a meeting last night in New York City by pure chance where there were 3 different people there, all around kind of that topic, from Long Island, the Hudson Valley, and they're all trying to figure out. And it's been more recently in the press, something that we've discussed broadly, which is the state's going to have to back off its climate goals.
right.
And the Public Service Commission has finally acknowledged they don't have the money to do this, and the only way they're doing it is from the little guy.
Mm.
So this whole kind of conversation about prices going up and your energy bill, and you're looking at it and saying, well, I didn't do anything,
No.
but I'm paying for a lot of stuff. So how to kind of keep it local and get those transmission charges and see if you can't create little grids, if you will,
Right.
off of the big grid.
Yeah, and then I see, I see if you were able to get a data center, co-locate the battery storage on the site, just provides a 4th level of energy redundancy, for them. So that would. So anyway, that's the plan, is to try to come out of Athens with its. I think the town board situation's improved a little bit. They got some young blood on. They seem to be calmed down. For anybody, you've had Maggie lives there. She knows Athens is usually in quite a bit of turmoil there at the town. Everything's quiet right now, so I think we're good timing to do it. So.
And we should also, something else we need to be aware of. I think there was a significant battery fire in a facility down south of here. I don't know how well they did in getting that extinguished.
So I don't want to belabor the whole thing, but I'm a fireman my whole life. Most of my life, I was a state certified fire instructor at one point in time, and I'm sorry, the fire issue is just overblown in these facilities. I mean, they don't have any examples of conflagration where one container blew up another container. They're worried about toxins and firemen, and you know what? If they burn, don't put any water on the damn thing. What you want to do is create a thermal and make the plume go up in the air. You put water on it, saturates the plume and keeps it closer to the surface. And the fact of the matter is, we got damn train goes through every 25 minutes with far more toxics on it. If your house burned, if we tested your house against that burning battery, your house is more toxic than that battery.
All the furniture in it is
Horrible. So we live with this every day. There's a bigger risk of fire in my house. I probably got 25 lithium batteries and different things all plugged in everywhere, So
it's just something. I'm just talking about level of consciousness.
yeah, I got that, and again, we all know we've been in this business, whether it's fires at battery centers or building a big warehouse in the middle of the field. It's just it's a
Not my backyard.
it's going to happen. So. But anyway, that's it. So appreciate it.
It's the worst.
Yeah. So moving on to our shovel-ready initiatives. The WILOT, last board meeting, we approved the wetland reporting, so we're going to get Quinzer on.
I talked to him last night. He's going to be out there next week.
Okay, next week.
He's over at the battery today.
Okay. So the wetlands will start next week. And then next step will be the archaeology for that site, which was a little bit more.
For the Y site?
For the Y site, so we had to do a permitting.
Right, we have to do we have to do a permit first because it's got to be tied to a permit action. So once Norbert does the wetland delineation, we can do the permit application.
Do we want to prior to the year end, at anything that we're looking at, pass a seeker neg deck so we can get underneath the new DEC is apparently taking jurisdiction, kind of almost replacing what the Army Corps did. So maybe anything we're looking at, we should neg deck it, so we get in front of this thing. And that way we're grandfathered under the old rules rather than the new.
We don't have anything nearly ready for seeker to make a deck on it. And I'm not worried about like that Army Corps with over there to do the permitting.
Well, just it's the
I mean, you know,
it's the 200-foot buffer, the 100-foot buffer around these wetlands, and no one knows. You know, the DEC right now is putting out new wetland regs.
Yep.
And they're in that. You know, the federal stuff it was kind of in flux because of the Supreme Court. So now, in the infinite wisdom of our great New York State, they have now said they're going to take over jurisdiction of these wetlands, and they've put forward regulations. So, you know, what people are doing is trying to get neg decks done and grandfather, and especially, you know.
The only thing we have is like an acquisition of a property, and
I just throw that out to
yeah,
you. Just
and then, but it says everything. So even if we do a neg deck, I mean, we still can't ignore that there's wetlands there. We're going to have to impact wetlands to get across. But
right, but if we have a neg deck, then we're outside the new regs, and therefore under kind of the Wild West where there are no regs, which is better for you. So, and we have time now. We have time between now and December 31, and so you know, and considering that we do have the ability. I just asked you to think about it because we have the
I'm thinking
ability
about it right now.
to neg deck.
Would we have to do the archaeology first before? So,
And then
No,
who's gonna challenge it? I mean, the question is who would challenge it? I know, you know, so I'm just saying you might want to think about that at this point.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Okay,
Like,
you got
I'll
time.
give it-
Yeah, we can talk about it, you know, you and I, but I'm just saying to you that is something that you ought to think about.
Yeah, let me just think through the mechanics of the timing. I gotta think through the mechanics timing because you still gotta do, you still would have to do it you'd have to do it as if we did it for that YMCA lot, let's say, for future development of YMCA lot, we'd have to get somebody shagging really quickly on doing some drawings and some other stuff. But we'd also have to do a coordinated review. We'd have to do the, you know, agency coordinator.
But I think that's easy. I don't think anyone's gonna
I don't
be,
think anybody's gonna challenge that.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just saying, you know, why, if you have an opportunity to get in front of something, get in front of it. Just my thought.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried. My brain is wheeling 100 miles an hour right now. But give me a couple days. So I guess with the board, if we need to move, because I think I hear Paul, but we'd have to spend some money on that. Everybody's good with that.
Renee, I look at it as we're gonna have to do something anyways, a money spend. And I think if I understand what Paul's saying is that we don't know what the new rules are gonna be come January, right? And it might be better to do it now when we know what we're dealing with.
I think the rules are gonna end up being just more on jurisdiction than anything. And this might sound crazy. Really might sound crazy, but I almost, from my perspective, I almost welcome the DEC taking over jurisdiction, to be honest with you, because DEC is responsive. The Army Corps is a nightmare. I mean, they are just totally not responsible to anybody. They're way understaffed right now. You know, I talked to Norbert the other day. He's got projects that have been under review for over 2 years just because of staffing issues.
So I have the opposite experience.
Really?
Yeah, because it's been going to the regions and it just sits there. And I'm just saying, they don't know what they're doing. You know, if you have a 100-foot buffer, I mean, some people are saying that you can just get a permit to get, you know, but so they're even taking jurisdiction over little wetlands and cities.
Yeah, well, so right now on YMCA lot, DAC already has jurisdiction. Clearly, under the old law, that's a much bigger, you know, it's been on the maps forever.
Yeah.
So that's already under all this is already under their jurisdiction. So there's not gonna be a change there. There's already DEC wetlands, there's a DEC 100-foot buffer. That's the big difference, as you know. You know, the Corps regulates to the fringe of the vegetation, you know, and DEC regulates 100 feet beyond that. But in this particular case of the Y, it is already all DEC wetland, and so there won't be any change in authority on that. The only change would be is if somehow they change requirements, but we can't pre-apply for a permit, or we can't be grandfathered into old permitting requirements if we don't file a permit until
My understanding is that under the regs, if you have a secret net deck, you're outside the new. So it's as simple as passing.
Hey there. Yep, I figured I would I'll just put you on speakerphone.
Sure, because there may be something else.